Today, you have to wonder whether you are living in Keir Starmer's Orwellian nightmare. He promised you'd be better off.
It's about making sure that people feel better off. And I have in my right time working people like you who are struggling with the cost of living crisis.
He said he had a clear plan to put more cash in your pocket.
And more cash in your pocket wherever you live. That is what we will be focusing on. A year of rebuilding.
The Prime Minister told you that your energy bills wouldn't go up.
And that's why the Labour Party has a fully costed plan to freeze energy bills.
Only Labour offers a plan for real change to cut energy bills for good with GB Energy, our new publicly owned energy company.
The Chancellor last week told you that you'd be £500 better off under this government.
People will be, on average, over £500 a year better off under this Labour government.
And today, Sir Keir Starmer tried to gaslight you again.
Today, we're giving millions of people a pay rise.
Just yank, I know you might be, don't readjust your television sets. He did say that, play it again.
Today, we're giving millions of people a pay rise.
Absolute rubbish. Today and later this week, every single bill you and your family pays will go up. Water, energy, road tax, broadband, council tax, your TV licence, if you're a business owner, your national insurance. I mean, honestly, seriously, if you have had a pay rise, you'll either be pushed into a higher tax bracket now, or it'll just get swallowed up by all of those bills. In fact, businesses are actually set to slash 85,000 jobs as a result of the minimum wage pay rise. No wonder the Prime Minister couldn't explain what a working person was before the last election. I mean, he couldn't even tell you what working class was.
Describe yourself as working class. Sakir, define working class.
No, working class is families that work for their living, earn their money through going out to work every day, not through other
Not
means.
middle classes do that?
Well,
Yeah. The Prime Minister lives in a fantasy world where he thinks real people won't notice that they are actually worse off. Well, earlier today, I went to Bromley in Kent to meet some salt-of-the-earth real people that no doubt the Prime Minister would absolutely hate actually having to meet himself. Hello and welcome to Bromley. Now, the last time I was here, I was talking to people about how they'd just been clobbered by ULEZ. The time before that, if you just follow me, I was in that theatre there, getting my kit off for the Dream Boys. I promise you, I'll keep my clothes on this time. But why am I here today? Well, council tax up, water bills up, phone bills up, broadband up, energy bills up, road tax up, the whole thing. GB News viewing figures up. Yes, mate, legend. Anyway, Keir Starmer and the Labour government told you that they'd make you feel like you've got more money in your pocket. Do you? Do people around here feel richer or poorer under Keir Starmer? Let's find out. This is the week everyone's bills are going up. Are you going to notice a pinch? Are you worried about anything, do you think?
Yeah, definitely, because my council tax is just ridiculous.
What is it, can I ask?
Well, I live in a two-bedroom terraced house and it's £248 a month.
For what? I mean, do they do a lot for you?
No, nothing. They collect the rubbish every fortnight. I mean, that's it. Don't do anything else, no.
Well, I mean, at the last election, Labour said that they'd make you feel better off.
Yes, they haven't. They haven't, not at all. No, my husband's still got to work. He's 67 years old. He's 68, this month now. So we're not better off.
The bills are hitting now this week. You've got everything from water, council tax, phone bill, car tax, energy, all of that. What's the worst one for you, do you think?
Energy. My flat's all electric. The last month it's £200. The month before that was £400. So it's going to go up 6%, isn't it, or something? Yeah. So.
Is that going to have an impact on your life?
Well, yeah, because me and my husband argue all the time. He turns the heating up. He's got arthritis in his hand, so he has it at 30 degrees. Lucky we've got ceiling heating, so he can just have it in one room. But I sit in there watching you on the telly with my duvet on.
Look, every bill, water bill, energy bill, phone bill, road tax, council tax, everything going up. this week. How do you feel about that?
Disgusted, absolutely disgusted. They promised nothing would go up, no taxes, every tax has gone up, benefits have been cut, people living it up in our hotels.
Is it all getting a bit much? Are you looking at the numbers now?
Yeah, because obviously, wages aren't necessarily increasing with the inflation. It's quite daunting, I think, when you do come to live on your own.
Doesn't even seem feasible at the moment, to be honest, because everything's just increasing so much. I even still know people that are at home at 25.
Well, I also noticed that it's the fact that migrants are coming here all the time. They're all arriving. They're getting looked after. They're getting put in hotels at our expense. Why should people like me suffer at the expense of people who are just coming up here and arriving in the country and getting bloody welcomed and put in hotels?
Well, there we are. And thank you very much yet again to the lovely people of Bromley. I mean, that might have been just one high street in Bromley there, Prime Minister, but I am telling you now that today those views are the views of pretty much every single person in Britain. Labour has made you poorer. Let's get thoughts on my panel this evening. We have got broadcaster and columnist Esther Kraku. We have got GB News presenter Alex Armstrong and, of course, journalist Jonathan Liss. Alex, I mean, I've just played loads of clips of Keir Starmer saying, we're going to put more money in your pocket, we're going to make you feel better off. Today we've made working people richer. It's just lies, isn't it?
In my opinion, it's gaslighting. It's not telling you the truth. And what politicians do that winds the British public up to the worst extent is that they give you these facts and figures from their spreadsheets. They go, well, you'll be better off because of this, that and the other. The reality is all these people are getting a pay rise today. Thousands more, hundreds of thousands more people are being pushed into higher income tax thresholds. So they're not wealthier. They are poorer by every single standard, which is not what they voted for. And that is the problem. If you cannot deliver on your manifesto, and I believe there should be mechanisms to hold governments accountable that are elected, unless there are exceptional circumstances, which there isn't. They knew about the economy before they came into power. They actually inherited a relatively recovering economy at least, and it's just gone downhill by their own hands. Their policies, Rachel Reeves's policies, have caused our economy to crash. We've got hundreds of businesses closing every day. The reality is people feel it, and they're going to feel worse and worse over the next few years.
Alex, the economy's not crashing. It's flatlining. It's not crashing by any definition.
GDP per capita.
Look, I'm not.
The population is growing, so actually we're worse off.
Look, I'm not saying that things are going brilliantly by any stretch of the imagination, but also I think we need to have a much bigger conversation when we talk about these bills that are rising, about who actually owns these utilities, how much the government can actually influence, those...
A fully costed plan to freeze your energy bills. Not my words, the words of the now Prime Minister.
Yeah,
he shouldn't have said that, should
he? But it might well be that he shouldn't have said it, or that we need to have a few more years before the new green energy plans come online.
OK, what Ed Miliband said was £300 less by 2030, but every year our energy bills are reckoning to be going up to 100, 150 quid or so.
Well, I'll tell you,
by 2030, they're still worse off.
But Alex,
there's no stretch of the imagination where they're not better off.
Alex, I know that you'll agree with me on this. One thing, my Thames water bill has just gone up by 50%. A lot of other people's water bills have gone up by a massive amount. This is the unacceptable face of privatisation. I don't think that privatisation is ever a good idea. But if the government really wants to get real about this stuff, it would actually renationalise these major industries.
OK, all right, but they're not doing that. They're not doing that.
Well, they're going to do it for railways.
Esther, again, this is another example of if we could go back in time and tell everyone at the last election that come April, stamp duty, broadband, phone, TV licence, council tax, energy bills, water bills, national insurance, all of that stuff, that's going to go up. That's all going to go up. Under Labour, they would not have won that election.
No, of course not, but they don't have a crystal ball. Look, on the energy front, I think it's important for me to pick up on Jonathan's point of the renewable energies point, because we have invested hundreds of billions of pounds. I mean, we're talking £300 billion plus in renewable energy since 2010. When, pray tell, are the British public going to see this cheaper energy that both the Tories and the Labour Party have been bleating on about? On the issue of nationalisation of the water companies, for example, let's transfer that onto energy. If we actually had a stable, reliable, cheap source of energy that was homegrown, that was a nationalized industry, we wouldn't have to rely on these private energy companies that are basically, taking us for a ride.
Yeah.
It's absolutely
and foreign owned, by the way. Energies our last steel furnace is owned by a Chinese person threatening to shut it down.
The brass neck of Keir Starmer, and he wasn't by any means the only one. There was quite a lot of Labour bigwigs coming out today and saying, Labour has just made you rich. We put more money in your pocket.
How much do you want to bet that more people are going to be unemployed because of these?
Exactly that. Reeves's tax hikes have triggered redundancies and new record low business confidence. That is from the Federation of Small Businesses and the Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development. 85,000 job losses purely as a result of Rachel Reeves's financial ineptitude here, Jonathan. How dare they stand before the public and lie and say, we've put more money in your pocket?
Well, because, for example, the minimum wage has risen to a record amount, and it's a very generous minimum wage by European standards, for example. So actually, what you're seeing right now is that the wage gap between the poorest paid and sort of middle income earners is actually much narrower than it used to be.
But what Patrick's saying, Jonathan, is that because of things like the minimum wage hike, which we all want to see people paid more money. Let's just make that very, very clear. I don't want anyone to think I want people to be poor. I don't. But because businesses are so cash-strapped because of all the other taxes that have been implied onto them, they are. I saw someone tweet today. I was full-time, but because of the new minimum wage increase, I'm now part-time, so I'm taking home less money.
I spoke to a lad who did not want to go on national television today. His employer, he said, had offered people it's a 70p an hour pay rise, which sounds all right, apart from the fact that they've then also made a load of redundancies to try to account for that. And if you want to try to get your overtime, you basically have to try to work an extra 4 or 5 hours every single week in order to make your money back. It's ridiculous. It's a false economy.
The structural issues with our economy long predates the Labour government, and I don't want it to seem like this is all they've only been in power for 8 months. However, I think in the last 8 months, the choices that they've made signals priorities that are not aligned with the British public. And I think this is where the problem arises. If you're going to say stuff like, we're going to stop the boats, actually there are more people coming across the boats than ever. If you're going to say we're going to make you well off and then tax businesses, which are then going to make people redundant, you're sending mixed signals, and that's the issue.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan, do you not think it's utterly shameful that Keir Starmer bracketed himself as working class? By the way, don't think he is even working class. I don't think that's true.
Well, why does it matter?
Yeah, but that's another fallacy, isn't it? Him saying, "Oh, yeah, I'm working class." I don't think you are. I don't think he likes the word.
Well, why wasn't he working class?
Well, I don't think anything.
Well,
about
I think on paper he is. I think he's asset millionaire.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
well, he's not working class now, obviously.
So then you've got him saying that, then patronising the working class, which is what most people on the left, in my view, actually do. Patronising the left, going around, sticking a high-vis jacket on and saying, you know what, we care about you. We're going to make your lives better off. We're going to make you richer. We understand you. 300,000 businesses are planning job cuts now as Rachel Reeves's budget starts to buy. And everyone else at home is having every single bill they pay going up this week.
Look, I can absolutely guarantee that those bills have gone up by the same amount if the Conservatives were in power right now. This is not because the Labour government. This is not because the Labour government that Thames Water is now. Well, water companies are now increasing by 50% or whatever. We have structural problems in this country about assets and utilities and state involvement in those things, and also we have real economic problems, which, as I said, long predate the Labour government. Since for 15 years, our economy is flatlined.
It's the government's job to make us richer. This is one frustration I have with politicians. Every election cycle rolls around, it's like, what can we offer you? What freebies can you offer you? And that's a problem actually with the British election. We've got used to every 4, 5, 7 years, us waiting for these politicians to come to us and say, oh, what meat or what bone can we throw you people? That's not the problem. The government is supposed to create the conditions for us to generate wealth, for businesses to thrive, and for us to take care of ourselves. We have now 1 in 4 people in Britain identifying as disabled, not because it's actually fun to be disabled, but because there's a little bit of a government perk there coming your way if you are disabled, if you identify as disabled.
What's this going to do all this week? What do we think that's going to do to the benefits and welfare system? How many more people are going to want to sign on now because literally every single bill is going up?
Exactly.
Well,
But it's not as simple as that. The government just doesn't just hand out money like sweeties to people who say they're disabled. I mean, it's actually quite a rigorous process to be able to go on those benefits.
Do you think the social contract has ever been more broken in Britain? And what is Keir Starmer going to do? What are Labour MPs going to do in a month's time when people are actually skint, when they actually feel these bills, and the farmers have been screwed, and the pensioners have been screwed?
It's not about the pensioners. It's about young people who can never hope to own a property.
Well, sure, we can talk, but okay, let's talk about the false promises first. And this is the issue that I have with political parties and their manifestos, is that it's quite obvious, even the OBR, which I'm not a big fan of, said openly in letters to both political parties, you are lying about what you're promising the electorate. How can they get away with that? Time and time again, I mean, we talk about immigration, the Tories, they promised to get immigration to tens of thousands, election after election, and they lied and didn't do it. And this is wrong. We need to hold them accountable for that.
Final word to you on this, Jonathan. I mean, do you have sympathy there for, because that was Bromley High Street today. I could have thrown a dart at the map of England and gone to any single high street, and I guarantee you everyone would have said the same thing.
Bromley is a conservative-leaning area, I suppose. If you'd gone to Islington High Street, you might have had slightly different answers. But I'm not pretending that everything is fantastic. And I don't think that the Labour government promised that everything would magically transform within a year. Change.
Isn't that what they said? Change.
So, these things will take time, and we need policies to bed in.
Okay.
And so we'll see. I'm not pretending everything's right, but I don't think it's a disastrous hellhole that you're advertising.
Okay, all right. A range of views there.